"She is not coming with us," my mom said loudly at the kitchen table. My 8-year-old froze, clutching her passport. Then she slid it away and smiled, problem solved quietly. "My name is Laura Bennett, and I am 36 years old. I work as a customer service supervisor at a logistics company in Ohio. Nothing glamorous, just steady work that keeps life moving. I am a single mom to my daughter Ellie, who is 8 years old and full of questions I always try my best to answer honestly. Growing up, my family always had opinions about my life, what I should do, how I should act, even how I should raise my child. My mother especially had a way of making decisions like they belonged to her, not me. I was not rich or powerful, but I built my life from scratch after my divorce, piece by piece, just to give Ellie stability. And even when they doubted me, I kept going. I thought planning a simple family trip would finally bring us together. I did not know it would turn into a fight over my own daughter. That realization still haunts me, because everything I thought was stable in my life was about to be tested, completely shaken. If you have ever had someone question your role as a parent or dismiss your decisions, you are not alone. Subscribe and stay with this story. Share your experience in the comments. I read everyone. And if this feels familiar, tap like and let us keep going together here. 3 days before our planned trip, I was finalizing packing lists when my mother casually announced Ellie would not be coming. She said she would stay with me like it was already decided. Ellie looked at me confused. "Mom." I said firmly, "No, she is traveling with me." My mother laughed. "You are always overwhelmed. She would be better off here." The tension escalated when she pulled out Ellie's passport from her purse. "I already spoke to someone," she added. "I can handle the paperwork." Ellie started crying, grabbing my sleeve. "Give it back," I said, my voice shaking. My mother refused. "Stop being dramatic. You will thank me later." That night I discovered she had contacted a relative in the travel office trying to block Ellie's travel clearance. It felt unreal, like my own authority as a mother was being erased in front of me. But I still did not know how far she had gone until we reached the airport. It was like the rules of my own life were being rewritten without my consent. Ellie kept looking at me as if waiting for me to fix it. I tried to reassure her, but my throat felt tight. My mother acted like everything was already under her control. She even smiled at people around us as if she was doing something noble. I remember hearing the overhead announcements at the airport sounding distant and strange. Everything felt like it was slipping out of my control. I could see other travelers watching us. Some looked uncomfortable, some looked curious. I kept telling myself to stay calm for Ellie. But inside I felt something breaking. My sister stood nearby, avoiding my eyes. She did not say a word. That silence hurt more than anything else. I felt like I was being judged without anyone speaking. My mother leaned closer to Ellie and spoke softly as if she had already won. That moment made something shift inside me. I realized this was no longer just family disagreement. It had become a battle for my daughter, and I would not lose ever. What my mother did not know was that I had been quietly documenting everything for months. Every message, every manipulation, every attempt to interfere with my custody decisions, it was all saved. I had started organizing it after my divorce, just in case things ever escalated. And I had someone I never told my family about. A powerful legal contact who once helped me navigate my custody agreement, someone my mother believed I had lost touch with. I sent one message before we reached the boarding area: "I need help. It is happening now." The reply was immediate: "Stay where you are, do not sign anything." At the same time, I noticed the passport officer stepping away to make a call. My mother did not notice. She was too busy planning Ellie's new life. But I did. And I realized something important. This was not just emotional control anymore. It was crossing legal boundaries. Ellie squeezed my hand tighter, whispering, "Mom, are we leaving together?" I nodded yes, no matter what. And I meant it. My ally was an old family lawyer who had once handled my custody case and knew exactly how my mother operated. He arrived quietly at the airport, not making a scene, just observing. He reviewed the situation and said she overstepped badly. My mother, unaware, grew more confident, telling relatives, "This is settled." The lawyer advised me to stay calm and let the process unfold. Meanwhile, airport staff began separating documents for review. Ellie stayed close to me, refusing to go near my mother. My sister looked nervous, for the first time realizing things were not going the way she expected. My mother, however, doubled down. She said, "She is staying with me." End of discussion. The lawyer simply replied, "We will see about that." Tension in the air thickened as officials prepared for a formal verification process. My mother thought she was winning socially, but legally everything was shifting. People nearby started whispering, sensing something serious was unfolding. And I could feel it too. The moment of truth was coming fast. The lawyer stood slightly behind me, calm and unshaken. I took that as my anchor. My mother kept speaking loudly, but fewer people were listening now. The environment was shifting around her even if she did not notice. I stayed focused on Ellie and nothing else mattered. She leaned into me silently, trusting me completely. I could feel her fear slowly fading. My sister finally spoke quietly, but no one really responded. The lawyer raised his hand slightly, signaling patience. We were waiting now for the official decision. My mother tried one last push, insisting loudly again. But the system was no longer responding to her confidence. It was responding to facts now. And that changed everything. I looked at Ellie and gave her a small, reassuring nod. This was almost over, and I knew it deep down. The passport officer called us into a private verification room. My mother followed, confidently, still speaking over everyone. She said she is not leaving. The officer placed the documents on the table. Ma'am, this case requires legal clarification. My mother snapped, I already gave you clarification. Then the lawyer stepped forward. Actually, you did not, he said calmly. He presented custody documents and flagged unauthorized interference. My mother's expression changed for the first time. That is not relevant, she said quickly. The officer shook his head. It is very relevant. Ellie moved closer to me, holding my hand tightly. The lawyer continued, any attempt to restrict travel without legal authority constitutes interference. My mother raised her voice, I am her grandmother. The officer replied firmly, that does not override parental custody. Silence hit the room. My sister tried to intervene, but it was too late. The officer finalized the decision. Ellie was cleared to travel with me immediately. My mother looked stunned as her control collapsed in real time. This is ridiculous, she whispered. But no one responded anymore. The system had already decided. And for the first time, I did not need to argue. Truth spoke for me. I felt a strange calm wash over me. It was not victory that I felt, it was relief. Ellie squeezed my hand as if she understood everything. We walked out of the room slowly. My mother stayed behind, surrounded by documents she could no longer control. My sister followed, quietly avoiding everyone's eyes. I did not look back, because there was nothing left to see that would change the truth. In that moment, I understood something deeply important. Power does not always come from shouting louder. Sometimes it comes from truth standing quietly in the right place. And today, truth was on my side. I held Ellie's hand tighter as we left the airport behind us. For the first time in a long time, I felt safe. And I knew things would never be the same again. But they would be better. I had protected my daughter, and that changed everything for me. The fear I carried for years finally broke. I could finally breathe without feeling trapped. And that was something no one could take away from me. Not today, and not ever again in my life, I promise myself. We walked out of the office together, just me and Ellie. My mother stayed behind, surrounded by documents she could no longer control. My sister avoided eye contact as reality sank in. Ellie leaned against me and said softly, you did not let go of me. I held her tighter, I never would. That moment changed everything between us. Not because I won an argument, but because the truth finally stood on my side. In the days after, my mother tried to rewrite the story, but the outcome was already set. I stopped doubting my decisions as a parent. And Ellie stopped asking if she was safe with me. Because now she knew. There was a quiet understanding between us that did not need explanation. I felt it in the way she held my hand without fear. The world outside felt less heavy now. And for the first time in a long time, I felt peace. Not because everything was perfect, but because I knew I was no longer alone in this. And that was enough for me finally here.